Greetings, monarchs of the internet. Today I am doing an Adobe Illustrator tutorial for how I made the dragon logo that you saw in the thumbnail. And so here I am. This is the drawing that I did for the dragon logo. That was just the kind of my concept, and so I just went ahead and imported that picture into the program and then began to trace over it. Now I traced over it using I think the free line tool, and using the node selector I manipulated all of the nodes and all of the handles. The nodes are the white things that you see in the center, all of those squares, and the handles are the things that are sticking out from the nodes, the little bubble things. And I put all of those nodes onto smooth, and that just makes it so that you can't make your nodes have to be, not your nodes, your handles for your nodes. It makes it so that they're always at 180 degrees, but you can make them longer or shorter. And kind of the manipulation of those nodes and handles just takes a little bit of practice. But if you play around with it for enough and make sure, like, if you do longer and shorter attachments, longer and shorter handles, and things like that, then you can kind of learn how to manipulate the lines how you want. You can also just drag the line itself without touching the node. So if you're in the node selector function, you can actually just drag the lines, but you can get a lot more precise if you just actually drag the nodes, if you just kind of learn how to do that. And again, that's just a little bit of trial and error. Now here I'm using the line width tool, which is something that I actually hadn't used before. It's on the right hand side. It looks kind of like a squiggle. And the line width tool is basically what I used for the majority of this project, so I actually didn't use any shapes. I only used lines for this project, and I think that ended up working out for me very well. And so with the width selector tool, you basically choose a point on the line and you make it whatever width you want. And so that singular point on the line will stay that width no matter what. But if you go to another point on the line and you say you want it to be skinnier, then it will naturally gradientate, that's totally not a word. It will naturally flow into the smaller section of the line, and you can put as many points as you want for where you want your line thicknesses to be on all of your lines. And so that's what I'm using here, and that's how I'm getting those smooth lines. You can also make your lines ridiculously thick, which is what I'm about to do here. And I just labeled basically all the different sections of the line by where I wanted it to be thinner or thicker. And so I kind of based this design off of the chainmail dragons that I make on my Etsy shop. And so you've got the scales and then kind of the flowy tail, and I didn't end up doing the tail as I drew it in the drawing, which was more accurate to my actual chainmail dragons, but it's kind of it's an artistic representation, you know? I also made the entire thing inside of a circle, so I could kind of make sure that I was staying within how it would look within a circle or a profile picture or logo, like how you have for Etsy. And then of course I put that circle into the triangle, which is what I'm going to use for the hammer. And so here I am trying to fiddle with the tail. The line selector tool can be the width selector tool can be a little finicky, because if you accidentally make another width somewhere or your nodes aren't joined, then it can do a bunch of funky things and make your line a bunch of weird and wackiness, is what you saw before. And here's just me messing around a little bit, and for some reason I was getting little tiny dimples in my width selector tool if I did it too thick on the edges. I'm not sure why that is. If somebody knows why that is, please tell me, because I could not for the life of me figure it out. So I ended up just making it a little bit thinner and hope that you didn't see the dimple. Yeah, because it's not like completely straight. Oh, and this is how to duplicate something in Illustrator. I believe it is you press the Alt key and simply drag. That is a very useful function because you can't really copy and paste. So if you want to duplicate something, then you can. And it's also very helpful if you just want to do it can be helpful just to duplicate your design anyway, because if you're constantly messing with things, then you can kind of see where you came from and if you like some of the elements better or things like that. So I like to duplicate kind of my design every once in a while on the pad so you can kind of see where it's coming from. And there I was trying for a really long time trying to make this little neck thing. I think I'm gonna try again in a moment here. It took forever, but right now I decided to give up and trying on making that. I decided to give up trying to make that look right and decided to try and make the eye look right. And I really wanted I wanted this dragon to have a little bit of a feminine kind of look. So I was trying to do some kind of like eyeliner or like eyelash kind of looking thing. And just trying to get the size and the placement correct. So yes, that's what I'm doing right now, and I think in a moment after I am done tweaking this, I mean this is just really a lot of tweaking. You really just have to try and tweak all the little nodes in the width selector tool and just try different things, and you can always Control Z. Control Z is your best friend. I probably used that hundreds and hundreds of times, if not thousands of times. And here again, I'm trying to make that little neck piece to kind of finish off the neck. And now back to the eye, and as you can see, I duplicated the eye there using the Alt, and that's because I wanted to try and mess around with that eye and see if I can make something different without losing my original design. So again, that's a really fast way to do that if you just click Alt and hold, and then you select whatever you wanted to select and just drag it. It's a really nice function, although I'm not used to it. I'm used to doing slightly different shortcuts, but I think it's actually cleaner than just doing like a Control D or other things in different programs. So this is what I finally decided on for the eye because I didn't really like where a lot of the stuff was going. And so, yes, also references are your friend. If you kind of go and look at, for example, I looked at dragon silhouettes, so you can kind of see. And that's where I thought that my design was done. Except then I showed it to my brother. And then he said, "Wow, that's terrible." And I was like, "Come on, man. I worked on that for like..." But he said it looked more like a snake than a dragon and gave me some other pointers about like tangents and stuff. And then I finally conceded. So what I did was, again, the duplicate function is your best friend, so I duplicated it over to another side. And I also looked at some references of dragons, and I realized the reason it looked so snake-like was that I didn't have like a little dimple. All dragons have like this little dimple, so I had that, and as you can see I added that, and I'm messing with the wings here because he said it was too uniform, and so I was trying to make them less uniform and also try and take care of the tangents. So a tangent is basically where two lines are too close together, and so as you can see the tips of the wings are a little bit close to the tail, and so it's a little bit, because your eye is usually drawn to tangents and usually you don't want that to happen. So yeah, that happens when it's again a little bit too close together but not actually touching. And so I kind of tweaked the wings and I tweaked the head, and I also tweaked the little, not hair fins, the spikes on their head. As you can see, I switched, and you can kind of see here, well, I deleted, I put the other one to the side. The other thing about the line width tools, you can see that the line widths will stay that same width no matter what. So even though I shrunk that design, their line width is still the same, so it looks really chunky now, but I left that over there just in case I wanted it. And so now the dragon design is basically done. But I wanted to add a little bit of embellishment just for the hammer. And so because these thick lines are going to be on other places in the hammer, and in the armor that I'm going off of, and basing my thing off of, I decided to do these little stripy boys and put them on the edges so that it kind of has something, so it's not just blank on the edges. That'll also help cover up some of the seams that I have on the hammer, which hopefully I'm going to fully sand out, because I think I've got almost the hang of it. And I'm just finishing up actually caulking and sanding on the hammer right now, and then it will be all ready to paint. But anyway, that's a different video. This is the logo video. So then I just exported the asset, and there it is. Oh, and then I put it, now I'm just going to print it out and put it on the hammer. But so there it is. I only did one side of the triangle thing because I only really needed one template, and all of them were exact. So anyway, that's just about it. Here is a cat picture. Thank you so much for watching this, and please subscribe if you like this video even a little bit. I know I'm not the best right now, but I'm really working on improving, and I hope to go really far with this. So thanks so much for watching. Bye.